The battlefield was unlike anything imagined by generals or strategists. German soldiers, sworn to the ideology of a regime that demanded absolute loyalty, now found themselves in an extraordinary situation, standing shoulder to shoulder with the Americans they had been trained to fight. The scenario defied conventional understanding of loyalty, nationalism, and survival. It was a convergence of necessity and conscience, a moment in history that blurred the rigid lines of enemy and ally, challenging both expectation and principle. For some, it began as a hesitant curiosity, a cautious observation of what might seem impossible. For others, it became a deliberate choice, a moral and tactical decision that would carry risks more severe than any previous engagement on the front. These German soldiers had experienced the grinding intensity of the war on the Eastern Front, the brutal campaigns across France, and the relentless push toward the heart of Europe. Each had witnessed the destruction wrought by relentless artillery, the chaos of urban combat, and the moral compromises imposed by orders from distant command. Their commitment to survival had been absolute, yet the erosion of the regime's moral and strategic credibility was now visible. Intelligence, propaganda, and battlefield experience combined to reveal a truth many could no longer ignore. The rigid structures of allegiance were crumbling, and opportunity, as well as danger, had emerged in equal measure. The Americans, initially cautious, recognized the unusual dynamics at play. Allied command had learned that certain German units, disillusioned and fractured by years of relentless conflict, were open to cooperation. The process was delicate. Trust had to be built under conditions of extreme stress and mutual suspicion. Each interaction, whether through observation, dialogue, or joint operations, required careful navigation. American officers understood that the cost of miscalculation could range from operational failure to fatal misjudgment. Consequently, every encounter was layered with strategy, ethics, and the unspoken understanding that history would observe these moments with scrutiny. Operational considerations shaped every decision. Joint maneuvers had to account for disparities in training, equipment, and tactics. German soldiers brought intimate knowledge of terrain, enemy strategies, and defensive positions, while the Americans contributed logistical support, firepower, and organizational coordination. The combination of these capabilities required meticulous planning. Field leaders organized training, briefings, and simulations to integrate the units effectively. Miscommunication or mistrust could result in catastrophic errors, making clarity, precision, and discipline imperative. The psychological component was as formidable as the logistical. Soldiers conditioned to view one another as mortal enemies were now required to recalibrate fundamental perceptions. The tension was pervasive. Every gesture, command, and decision was weighed with caution. Yet slowly patterns emerged. Mutual respect grew where competence was evident. Reliability became a currency more powerful than ideology. Acts of bravery, integrity, and initiative built credibility and laid the foundation for operational success. Soldiers who had once opposed one another now relied on coordination, anticipating actions and covering vulnerabilities with growing confidence. Historical context amplified the uniqueness of the situation. German soldiers collaborating with Americans during active operations contradicted the official narrative of the war. Reports of such instances were scarce, often relegated to confidential records, personal memoirs, or local accounts. Yet the impact of these alliances extended beyond immediate tactical advantage. Information gathered, sabotage conducted, and logistical support provided by these cooperative units influenced campaigns and outcomes in ways that remain underrepresented in mainstream accounts. The intertwining of courage, pragmatism, and defiance created a legacy that reshaped the conventional understanding of allegiance and resistance in wartime. Early engagements tested the emerging cooperation. Both sides navigated misunderstandings, cultural differences, and the lingering weight of suspicion. Tactical exercises revealed gaps in protocol, timing, and coordination. Officers devised strategies to bridge these gaps, often relying on individuals willing to take initiative, interpret intent, and act decisively under pressure. Lessons learned in these preliminary encounters directly affected combat operations, increasing efficiency, reducing friendly casualties, and maximizing the strategic advantage of combined efforts. The operational landscape was dynamic. German soldiers brought unique insight into fortifications, supply lines, and troop movements, often anticipating enemy strategies with remarkable accuracy. The Americans, leveraging superior communication networks, reconnaissance capabilities, and mobility, were able to integrate this intelligence into actionable plans. The result was a synergy that defied traditional wartime assumptions. Opposing soldiers aligning their expertise to achieve shared objectives, a phenomenon both extraordinary and perilous. Risk was omnipresent. Collaboration with former enemies carried the threat of retaliation from both the remnants of German command and the broader conflict environment. Soldiers faced moral dilemmas, potential prosecution, and the social ramifications of defying established orders. Each decision to cooperate required balancing immediate tactical advantage against long-term consequences. Despite these hazards, many pressed forward, driven by pragmatism, survival instincts, or an emerging ethical framework that prioritized human judgment over blind allegiance. Stories of courage began to surface. One German sergeant, who had spent years entrenched on the Western Front, chose to accompany an American platoon on a reconnaissance mission that carried exceptional risk. His knowledge of local terrain, defensive structures, and enemy routines proved invaluable. The Americans, initially wary, soon relied on his judgment, and the mission succeeded in gathering critical intelligence with minimal casualties. This instance exemplified the delicate interplay of trust, expertise, and courage, illustrating the broader phenomenon of defiance reshaping conventional military roles. Daily life within these mixed units revealed layers of adaptation. Soldiers adjusted routines, shared resources, and communicated across linguistic and procedural barriers. Meals, equipment maintenance, and watch rotations required integration without compromising operational efficiency. Despite lingering cultural and historical differences, cohesion grew as competence, reliability, and shared risk became more significant than prior loyalties. Individuals who demonstrated skill and integrity earned respect, and alliances strengthened, reflecting both the necessity and possibility of cooperation under extreme circumstances. The broader strategic implications were profound. Allied command, recognizing the potential of these collaborations, leveraged cooperative German units for intelligence gathering, sabotage operations, and operational planning. Successes on the tactical level influenced campaigns on a larger scale, creating cascading effects that shaped military decisions. Yet the phenomenon remained largely hidden from public view, a complex interplay of pragmatism, morality, and individual choice that disrupted simple narratives of friend and foe. Not all soldiers embraced the opportunity for cooperation. Fear, ideology, and prior indoctrination created resistance in some ranks. Instances of refusal, sabotage, or desertion highlighted the tension inherent in the situation. Officers had to discern who could be trusted, balancing inclusion against risk. This assessment required keen observation, judgment, and flexibility. In many cases, individuals were given limited responsibilities initially, allowing competence and loyalty to be tested under controlled circumstances. As operations continued, trust deepened, and the tactical efficiency of the units improved. German soldiers contributed actively to planning, reconnaissance, and frontline engagements. Their participation introduced unique strategies, insider knowledge, and improvisational tactics that enhanced American operations. The resulting synergy underscored a larger lesson. In the crucible of war, allegiance can be redefined by circumstance, competence, and ethical judgment, sometimes transcending ideology entirely. The human dimension remained central. Soldiers navigated fear, uncertainty, and moral complexity. Communication, mutual reliance, and shared objectives transformed interactions, creating a functioning unit out of formerly adversarial members. Acts of bravery, resourcefulness, and ethical decision-making fostered trust and reinforced operational cohesion. The convergence of these human elements with military strategy demonstrated the profound impact individuals can have when conventional roles and expectations are challenged. Every engagement required continuous adaptation. Tactical plans were modified in real time to incorporate the unique knowledge and skills of German soldiers. Field improvisation became a standard, reflecting the dynamic environment and the necessity of integrating multiple perspectives. The capacity to adjust strategies, anticipate enemy reactions, and execute complex maneuvers with mixed personnel highlighted the remarkable combination of human skill, judgment, and initiative present within these units. Through careful observation and participation, American command gradually realized the strategic potential of these cooperative forces. Deployments were designed to exploit insider knowledge, enhance reconnaissance capabilities, and disrupt enemy operations. The collaboration's success relied on precision, discipline, and trust, demonstrating the tangible benefits of integrating former adversaries in highly controlled operational frameworks. The initial encounters had been cautious, layered with hesitation and careful observation. Yet, as German soldiers and American units spent more time operating together, the subtle threads of cooperation began to weave a new reality on the battlefield. Tactical meetings, reconnaissance patrols, and joint maneuvers became the crucible in which mutual understanding and trust were forged. Every step required precision, both to maintain operational effectiveness and to navigate the fragile social balance between former enemies. The Americans had learned to interpret gestures, decisions, and strategic insights, while German soldiers discovered that their expertise and judgment could now directly shape the outcomes of missions rather than merely following orders from a distant and faltering command. Intelligence quickly became a focal point of collaboration. German soldiers possessed first-hand knowledge of fortifications, supply routes, and defensive strategies that could not be replicated by maps or intercepted communications. Their insight transformed planning sessions into highly strategic operations. American commanders leveraged this information, incorporating it into coordinated assaults, diversionary tactics, and logistical maneuvers. The process required constant evaluation, verification, and adaptation, as errors could compromise both personnel and objectives. Precision and reliability emerged as essential currencies, reinforcing trust and solidifying the operational partnership. The psychological landscape evolved alongside the tactical. Soldiers trained to regard one another as mortal adversaries had to confront the reality of shared survival. Daily interactions, whether during combat or logistical preparation, fostered a sense of interdependence. Simple acts of reliability, covering a teammate's blind spot, sharing critical resources, or providing timely warning of enemy movements, reinforced cohesion. Over time, fear and suspicion gave way to respect and pragmatic alliance, transforming the battlefield into a dynamic environment where loyalty was not predetermined by nationality but earned through competence and commitment. Field operations highlighted the practical benefits of this cooperation. German soldiers guided American patrols through areas of strategic complexity, identifying hidden enemy positions and suggesting optimal approaches. Engineers and communications officers collaborated to establish temporary outposts, leveraging both American technology and German understanding of local conditions. These combined efforts enhanced operational flexibility, reduced casualties, and created opportunities to outmaneuver the opposition. Every success reinforced the emerging pattern. Shared expertise could override ideological divisions, producing tangible military advantage. Yet the integration was far from seamless. Cultural differences, training protocols, and residual indoctrination posed ongoing challenges. Language barriers occasionally disrupted communication, while variations in tactical philosophy required adaptation on both sides. Officers mediated conflicts and clarified operational priorities, ensuring that divergent approaches were harmonized rather than creating friction. The result was a hybrid methodology that combined American coordination and resources with German precision and insight, creating a force greater than the sum of its parts. Moral considerations permeated every action. German soldiers confronted the ethical implications of assisting former enemies against comrades or commanders from their own nation. Many wrestled with personal conscience, weighing loyalty, survival, and the broader consequences of their choices. These internal debates often unfolded silently, expressed in subtle hesitation, deliberation, or cautious initiative. Leadership recognized these tensions and provided clear guidance. Operational success required commitment, but individual decisions were acknowledged as reflections of personal integrity. This nuanced approach facilitated collaboration while respecting the complex human dimension of defiance and allegiance. Engagements in contested zones demonstrated the effectiveness of these newly formed alliances. Patrols moved with heightened coordination, relying on combined reconnaissance, cross-training, and adaptive strategy. German soldiers identified vulnerabilities, suggested tactical diversions, and advised on potential enemy responses. Americans implemented these suggestions with disciplined execution, adjusting formations, timing, and resource deployment to maximize impact. The resulting operations consistently outperformed previous expectations, revealing the practical and strategic value of cooperation beyond traditional ideological divides. Logistical support became another area of critical integration. German soldiers' understanding of local supply caches, transport routes, and storage facilities allowed American units to optimize resupply efforts. Fuel, ammunition, medical supplies, and rations were managed with greater efficiency, reducing exposure to enemy interception and ensuring operational continuity. The interplay of knowledge, organization, and adaptive strategy underscored the unique advantages created when intelligence, experience, and operational capacity converged across former lines of conflict. The human dynamics continued to evolve. Soldiers relied increasingly on observation, intuition, and prior experience to anticipate the needs and intentions of their allies. Subtle cues, from body language to routine behavior, informed split-second decisions that could determine mission success. This reliance on nonverbal communication enhanced cohesion, minimized miscalculations, and strengthened mutual trust. Each successful engagement reinforced the understanding that competency, courage, and reliability mattered more than nationality in determining survival and mission accomplishment. Encounters with enemy forces revealed both the advantages and the challenges of mixed units. German soldiers' insight allowed for preemptive maneuvers, early detection of ambushes, and precise targeting. Americans provided support through superior firepower, communications, and coordination, ensuring that tactical opportunities were fully exploited. Successes were not uniform. Missteps and misunderstandings occasionally led to setbacks, reinforcing the importance of constant vigilance, disciplined execution, and adaptive learning. Every mission became a lesson in operational resilience, tactical creativity, and collaborative problem-solving. Leadership played a pivotal role in sustaining cohesion. Officers on both sides recognized that maintaining morale, trust, and discipline was as important as executing tactical plans. Recognition of individual contributions, equitable distribution of responsibilities, and transparent communication mitigated potential conflict. Commanders balanced the need for obedience with respect for initiative, creating an environment where experience, judgment, and personal integrity were valued alongside adherence to orders. This approach nurtured both operational effectiveness and the psychological stability of the unit. The interplay of risk and reward shaped decisions at every level. German soldiers faced potential reprisal from remnants of their former command, while Americans had to ensure that cooperation did not compromise overall strategic objectives. Field leaders implemented measures to safeguard personnel and sensitive information, including staggered deployment, limited disclosure, and contingency planning. The constant awareness of danger heightened discipline and reinforced the necessity of clear, precise, and coordinated action. Moments of individual heroism and initiative became defining features of the collaboration. Soldiers frequently acted beyond the immediate requirements of orders, taking calculated risks to protect allies, secure intelligence, or disrupt enemy movements. These acts were often small in scale but profound in consequence, demonstrating the cumulative effect of trust, courage, and adaptive decision-making in shaping operational outcomes. Such moments reinforced the human element as a decisive factor in the effectiveness of these hybrid units. As the weeks progressed, operational routines stabilized. Patrol schedules, supply management, reconnaissance patterns, and engagement strategies became standardized, yet flexible enough to accommodate dynamic battlefield conditions. German soldiers integrated into these routines not merely as contributors but as valued participants, influencing planning, execution, and evaluation. The success of these units exemplified the capacity of adaptive, human-centered strategies to overcome ideological barriers and achieve tangible results under extreme conditions. Strategic assessments confirmed the growing impact of these collaborative forces. Intelligence gathered by German-American units provided actionable insights that influenced broader campaigns. Enemy movements were anticipated with increasing accuracy, supply lines were disrupted, and defensive positions were compromised. The operational effectiveness of these units validated the initial risks of collaboration, revealing that former adversaries could collectively produce outcomes previously unattainable by either force independently. Despite these successes, tension persisted. Soldiers remained acutely aware that defiance of prior allegiances carried profound consequences. The moral and psychological burden was ever present, influencing decisions both on and off the battlefield. Leadership addressed this by fostering mutual understanding, encouraging dialogue, and maintaining focus on shared objectives. The combination of operational discipline, ethical consideration, and adaptive strategy enabled continued cooperation without eroding the integrity of individual soldiers or mission objectives. Every engagement, reconnaissance, and logistical maneuver reinforced the extraordinary nature of these alliances. Mixed units demonstrated that operational success was not solely the product of superior technology or numerical advantage but also of human judgment, adaptability, and courage. The integration of former adversaries revealed the capacity for individuals to transcend ideology, prioritize pragmatism, and contribute meaningfully to shared objectives under extreme circumstances. The front lines evolved into a theater of unprecedented collaboration. Mixed units of German and American soldiers operated with an efficiency that surprised even the most seasoned commanders. Their combined knowledge of terrain, enemy movements, and tactical positioning created operational possibilities that neither force could achieve alone. In some instances, German soldiers guided American squads through areas previously considered impassable, identifying hidden passages, weak defensive positions, and ambush sites. The Americans, in turn, provided heavy artillery, mechanized support, and advanced communications, allowing the units to execute maneuvers with precision. Each operation became a testament to the power of human adaptability and the surprising fluidity of loyalty under extreme circumstances. Combat engagements tested these hybrid forces to their limits. Coordinated attacks against entrenched enemy positions required precise timing, seamless communication, and absolute trust. German soldiers who had once trained to exploit weaknesses in American formations now used their expertise to amplify Allied strategy. In urban environments, their intimate knowledge of streets, alleys, and local infrastructure allowed units to outmaneuver opposing forces with minimal exposure. Americans contributed by integrating air support, mobile artillery, and medical logistics into these missions, ensuring sustained operational capability. The interplay of experience, strategy, and technology produced outcomes that reshaped local tactical landscapes. The psychological burden on soldiers was immense. German troops confronted the reality that their survival now depended not only on skill but on the willingness of former enemies to accept them as partners. Each decision carried moral weight. Every act of cooperation was simultaneously a defiance of past orders and a statement of ethical judgment. American soldiers also faced challenges in overcoming deep-seated distrust. Observation of consistent competence, decisive action under pressure, and clear adherence to shared objectives gradually alleviated skepticism. Over time, these experiences fostered a fragile but resilient bond, one forged not by ideology but by necessity and shared risk. Operational success required continual adaptation. Commanders introduced dynamic strategies to address unpredictable battlefield conditions. Patrols were restructured to leverage the German soldiers' reconnaissance skills, while mobile units provided rapid response capability. Logistics teams coordinated supply routes with meticulous attention to minimizing exposure and ensuring timely delivery. Every mission plan was layered with contingency measures, anticipating potential failures and devising solutions that relied on real-time judgment. This adaptability highlighted the value of integrating human insight with strategic foresight, demonstrating the decisive advantage of trust and flexibility in complex warfare scenarios. Risk management became a central focus. Mixed units operated under the constant threat of enemy counteraction, environmental hazards, and operational miscommunication. Leadership implemented strict protocols, cross-checking intelligence reports, coordinating timing with exact precision, and assigning redundant measures for critical tasks. German soldiers were often positioned to leverage their understanding of enemy psychology and operational patterns, while Americans maintained command over broader tactical execution. The resulting structure balanced initiative with oversight, maximizing effectiveness while minimizing exposure to catastrophic errors. Successes on the battlefield reinforced confidence in these collaborations. Joint reconnaissance revealed enemy supply lines, artillery positions, and command hubs that were previously impervious to conventional intelligence methods. The combined forces executed targeted strikes, using German insights to identify critical vulnerabilities and American firepower to exploit them. Each mission enhanced the operational knowledge base, strengthened interpersonal trust, and set a precedent for future integration. Soldiers began to understand that competence, courage, and adaptability could outweigh the historical divisions of nationality and ideology. The human element continued to shape outcomes. Small acts of initiative, covering a partner during a firefight, sharing intelligence without explicit orders, or providing assistance under duress, reinforced cohesion. Soldiers learned to anticipate each other's decisions, building a shared rhythm of action that transcended previous divisions. This reliance on intuition, observation, and mutual understanding enabled units to execute complex maneuvers with remarkable efficiency, often outpacing expectations set by conventional military doctrine. Urban combat offered both opportunities and challenges for these units. German soldiers familiar with the local geography could predict enemy patrol patterns, identify choke points, and suggest optimal defensive positions. Americans provided coordinated fire support, communication with command, and logistical backup to ensure sustained pressure. The result was a series of tactical victories that leveraged the complementary skills of both groups, demonstrating the tangible impact of collaboration on strategic objectives. Each operation provided critical learning, refining coordination and enhancing effectiveness for subsequent engagements. Beyond combat, daily routines strengthened integration. Soldiers shared responsibilities for fortification maintenance, resource distribution, and watch rotations. Even mundane tasks, cleaning equipment, repairing vehicles, or organizing medical supplies, became opportunities for trust building and skill exchange. These routines reinforced a sense of shared purpose, solidifying the psychological framework necessary for effective collaboration under extreme conditions. Over time, soldiers began to see themselves not as adversaries but as participants in a complex operation where shared goals outweighed historical enmity. Moral complexities persisted, shaping interactions and decisions. German soldiers confronted lingering guilt over their past allegiance and the broader consequences of war. Some experienced profound internal conflict, questioning the morality of fighting former comrades while aiding Americans. Leadership acknowledged these concerns, providing guidance that emphasized operational necessity, ethical reasoning, and the long-term consequences of contributing to a more effective and humane approach to combat. Americans, observing these struggles, often offered quiet support, reinforcing the idea that ethical action and practical necessity could coexist even in the most extreme circumstances. Reconnaissance missions became increasingly sophisticated. German soldiers applied tactical insight to identify enemy vulnerabilities, while Americans coordinated precision strikes and rapid mobility to exploit these opportunities. These joint operations produced results disproportionate to unit size, demonstrating how intelligence, strategy, and cooperative action could overcome traditional numerical or technological disadvantages. Success reinforced morale, validated operational integration, and set the stage for further strategic planning. Communication remained a critical component of cohesion. Misunderstandings could jeopardize both mission success and human lives. Multilingual signals, hand gestures, and coded communications emerged organically, allowing units to operate seamlessly despite linguistic differences. Soldiers adapted quickly, learning to interpret subtle cues and anticipate actions without direct instruction. This ability to function intuitively under pressure exemplified the psychological adaptability essential to collaborative warfare. Leadership continued to emphasize flexibility and accountability. Commanders encouraged initiative while maintaining oversight, ensuring that soldiers exercised judgment without compromising operational integrity. German soldiers were assigned roles matching their expertise, often serving as forward observers, guides, or tactical advisors. Americans maintained broader coordination, supplying logistical support and integrating intelligence into strategic plans. The result was a delicate balance of autonomy and structure, producing operational efficiency and reinforcing trust. The stakes were continually high. Units operated under the constant threat of counterattacks, artillery bombardment, and the unpredictability of wartime environments. Soldiers relied on each other for survival, reinforcing bonds of interdependence. Trust was not assumed. It was earned through competence, consistency, and courage in the face of danger. Every successful mission strengthened the perception that collaboration was not only possible but essential, reshaping assumptions about loyalty, capability, and human behavior in extreme conditions. As the campaign progressed, the mixed units began influencing broader strategic outcomes. Reconnaissance provided actionable intelligence that disrupted enemy movements and supply chains. Tactical strikes leveraged combined expertise to neutralize fortified positions. The cumulative impact of these operations demonstrated that former adversaries, when aligned under shared objectives and guided by mutual respect, could achieve results previously unattainable through conventional means. The battlefield itself became a laboratory for testing the limits of adaptability, trust, and strategic ingenuity. The battlefield had transformed into a landscape of calculated risk and adaptive strategy. Mixed units of German and American soldiers were no longer experiments in trust but highly effective formations capable of executing complex operations under extreme pressure. Their integration had matured beyond mere survival tactics. It had become a disciplined, cohesive force that leveraged each soldier's unique skills to achieve extraordinary outcomes. Every patrol, engagement, and reconnaissance mission reinforced the principle that capability, courage, and judgment outweighed historical divisions, proving that collaboration could reshape the course of localized campaigns. Critical missions highlighted the profound operational advantages of these hybrid units. In one instance, intelligence gathered by German soldiers revealed a concealed supply depot supporting enemy forward positions. American units, equipped with heavy artillery and precise aerial coordination, executed a rapid strike designed to neutralize the depot before reinforcements could arrive. German soldiers provided detailed guidance, identifying structural vulnerabilities, optimal entry points, and escape routes. The Americans implemented the plan with exacting precision, synchronizing movements, communications, and support fire. The operation succeeded with minimal casualties, showcasing the strategic payoff of integrating first-hand knowledge with superior resources and coordinated execution. Reconnaissance continued to define the operational edge. German soldiers' understanding of terrain, enemy behavior, and infrastructure allowed units to anticipate countermeasures, avoid traps, and exploit weaknesses. Americans contributed advanced mapping, surveillance equipment, and rapid communication channels, ensuring that intelligence translated into actionable strategy. These combined efforts frequently preempted enemy maneuvers, disrupted supply chains, and neutralized defensive positions. Each success validated the integration, reinforcing morale, strengthening trust, and providing compelling evidence that former adversaries could function as a unified force under high-stakes conditions. Urban engagements demanded adaptability and acute situational awareness. German soldiers familiar with the streets, alleys, and hidden passages advised American units on movement patterns, choke points, and potential ambush sites. Americans provided coordinated firepower, engineering support, and medical backup. Together, they executed complex maneuvers that maximized impact while minimizing exposure. Each engagement revealed the remarkable efficiency of collaboration, the ability to act intuitively as a single unit, anticipating challenges and responding decisively, elevated operational outcomes to unprecedented levels. The psychological dimension remained a central factor. Soldiers grappled with moral dilemmas, the weight of past allegiances, and the immediate necessity of survival. German troops confronted the reality of opposing former comrades while aiding Americans, balancing loyalty with pragmatism. Many experienced profound internal conflict, questioning the ethical implications of their choices. Leadership addressed these challenges by emphasizing operational necessity, personal integrity, and the long-term consequences of contributing to effective, disciplined, and humane action. The acknowledgement of moral complexity allowed soldiers to operate effectively without sacrificing personal conscience, forging a culture of disciplined autonomy and ethical engagement. Risk management was meticulously integrated into every operation. Units implemented redundant measures to safeguard personnel and critical information. Patrols moved in coordinated sequences, supply convoys utilized concealed routes, and contingency plans accounted for enemy counterattacks or environmental hazards. German soldiers often served as forward guides, leveraging their understanding of enemy psychology and local terrain, while Americans maintained overall command, ensuring alignment with broader strategic objectives. The interplay of initiative and oversight created a resilient operational structure capable of sustaining high-pressure missions without compromising safety or effectiveness. Small acts of initiative and heroism frequently defined operational success. Soldiers repeatedly demonstrated adaptive judgment, covering teammates during critical maneuvers, securing intelligence under duress, or taking decisive action to disrupt enemy formations. These contributions, while sometimes subtle, cumulatively shaped the effectiveness of operations. Recognition of such acts reinforced cohesion, encouraged calculated risk-taking, and strengthened mutual respect between former adversaries. Soldiers learned that competence and courage mattered more than nationality, and each mission became a testament to human adaptability in extreme conditions. Medical support emerged as a critical domain of collaboration. Casualty management required rapid response, precise triage, and careful coordination to prevent further losses. German medics, familiar with battlefield injuries and local resources, worked alongside American medical teams to stabilize wounded soldiers and facilitate evacuation. These joint efforts ensured operational continuity, maintained morale, and underscored the practical benefits of cross-cultural cooperation. The shared responsibility for life and survival reinforced bonds, creating a sense of collective investment in each soldier's welfare. Supply chain optimization further demonstrated the strategic value of collaboration. German soldiers provided intelligence on hidden depots, potential hazards, and enemy monitoring patterns. American logistics teams implemented coordinated distribution, ensuring that essential materials, fuel, ammunition, rations, and medical supplies arrived timely and securely. Each successful resupply operation reinforced confidence, reduced vulnerability to enemy interdiction, and sustained operational momentum. The fusion of experience, strategy, and organizational discipline created a resilient system capable of adapting to dynamic battlefield conditions. Leadership strategies continued to evolve. Commanders balanced autonomy and oversight, empowering soldiers to exercise judgment while maintaining alignment with operational objectives. German soldiers were assigned roles that leveraged their expertise, whether in reconnaissance, tactical advising, or forward observation. Americans integrated these contributions into broader strategic plans, ensuring cohesion and accountability. The resulting framework enabled high-stakes decision-making, rapid adaptation to unforeseen challenges, and consistent execution of complex missions, demonstrating the practical advantages of flexible command structures. Cultural adaptation became a subtle but significant factor in operational effectiveness. Soldiers learned to navigate linguistic differences, interpret behavioral cues, and anticipate decision-making patterns. Hand signals, coded phrases, and nonverbal communication became essential tools, allowing units to respond instantaneously to evolving scenarios. The ability to operate intuitively as a cohesive force elevated tactical performance, reduced miscommunication, and increased the likelihood of mission success. Over time, cultural fluency became as critical to operational capability as weaponry or strategy. Every engagement carried profound consequences. Units faced heavily fortified positions, well-coordinated enemy patrols, and unpredictable environmental hazards. Success required meticulous planning, seamless coordination, and split-second decision-making. German soldiers' expertise in identifying vulnerabilities complemented American tactical resources, creating a synergy that consistently outperformed expectations. Each mission reinforced the practical and psychological advantages of cooperation, demonstrating that strategic outcomes could be profoundly shaped by adaptive collaboration. The integration of intelligence and tactical execution continued to define battlefield advantage. German soldiers provided insights into enemy supply routes, patrol schedules, and command hubs. Americans translated this intelligence into coordinated strikes, leveraging firepower, mobility, and logistical support. The cumulative impact of these operations disrupted enemy operations, reduced attrition, and created opportunities for broader strategic gains. Soldiers increasingly recognized that operational effectiveness depended as much on human judgment and adaptability as on numerical or technological superiority. The hybrid unit's successes gradually influenced broader strategic planning. Intelligence gathered during reconnaissance missions informed regional deployment, supply allocation, and tactical priorities. Commanders recognized the unique value of these integrated forces, deploying them to high-impact zones where the combination of local knowledge, tactical expertise, and technological support could yield decisive outcomes. The battlefield became a proving ground for the principles of adaptability, trust, and operational ingenuity, highlighting the transformative potential of human collaboration in wartime conditions. Despite ongoing risks, the soldiers' commitment remained unwavering. Each mission carried potential for casualty or capture, yet the collective understanding of purpose, capability, and interdependence drove continued engagement. Soldiers developed an acute awareness of each other's strengths, weaknesses, and behavioral patterns, enabling precise coordination under extreme stress. This reliance on observation, judgment, and shared experience reinforced cohesion, increased operational resilience, and underscored the enduring human element as a decisive factor in military success. The culmination of months of coordinated operations became evident in the decisive engagements that would define the campaign. Mixed units of German and American soldiers moved with a cohesion that few had anticipated, applying lessons learned from countless previous encounters. Each mission, each calculated maneuver, had prepared them for this moment. A concentrated offensive aimed at a critical enemy stronghold whose capture would shift operational momentum irreversibly. The stakes were immense, as success promised strategic advantage and failure could result in catastrophic loss. Soldiers understood that every decision, every action, carried consequences extending beyond the immediate battlefield. Intelligence played a pivotal role in shaping the assault. German soldiers, drawing on prior experience and intimate knowledge of enemy behavior, pinpointed weak points in fortifications and predicted likely responses. American officers coordinated artillery, mechanized units, and aerial surveillance to exploit these vulnerabilities. The operation required split-second timing and flawless communication. As the units advanced, each step was measured against anticipated resistance, ensuring that momentum was maintained while minimizing exposure. Coordination between the former adversaries had evolved into a near-intuitive process, a seamless interplay of observation, judgment, and trust. Engagements unfolded with a mixture of precision and improvisation. Streets once controlled by entrenched defenders were navigated strategically, with German guides leading the way through paths less known to the enemy. Americans delivered suppressive fire, provided medical coverage, and ensured logistical continuity. Each soldier, aware of both the immediate dangers and the overarching objective, operated with clarity and focus. Casualty management teams moved swiftly to stabilize and evacuate the wounded, reinforcing morale and sustaining operational capability. The effectiveness of the hybrid units highlighted the transformative power of integration. Knowledge, skill, and human adaptability merged to achieve objectives previously considered unattainable. Tactical ingenuity defined the operation. German soldiers identified critical choke points where defensive formations were concentrated and suggested methods for disruption. Americans employed coordinated strikes, combining artillery barrages, mechanized advances, and rapid maneuvering to exploit these insights. In one critical moment, a detachment of German soldiers led a flanking maneuver, opening a path for American armored units to penetrate deep into enemy lines. The synergy between local knowledge and technological superiority produced results far exceeding conventional expectations, illustrating the remarkable outcomes achievable when former adversaries operate as a unified force. The psychological dimension of these final engagements was profound. Soldiers confronted the tangible consequences of months of collaboration, grappling with the weight of their choices, the memory of past allegiances, and the immediacy of survival. German troops, once conditioned by indoctrination and previous commands, now acted decisively to preserve life, achieve strategic goals, and support comrades who had once been enemies. Americans, observing competence, courage, and loyalty in their former adversaries, adjusted preconceptions and responded with reciprocal trust. The battlefield became a crucible where human judgment, ethical reasoning, and tactical acumen intersected, producing a level of cohesion rarely seen in conventional warfare. Urban combat posed unique challenges. Narrow streets, dense buildings, and unpredictable enemy positions demanded constant adaptability. German soldiers, familiar with local layouts and defensive structures, provided critical guidance, identifying weak points, escape routes, and tactical advantages. American forces delivered precise artillery, coordinated infantry movements, and rapid medical response. Together, the combined units executed maneuvers that neutralized fortified positions and secured vital objectives. Each success reinforced confidence, validated collaborative strategies, and strengthened the bonds forged under extreme circumstances. Leadership remained central to operational efficacy. Commanders balanced autonomy with oversight, empowering soldiers to act decisively while maintaining alignment with broader strategic objectives. German soldiers assumed advisory and tactical roles, contributing experience and insight to operational planning. Americans coordinated logistical support, aerial reconnaissance, and artillery deployment. The resulting framework optimized decision-making under pressure, ensuring that missions were executed with precision, efficiency, and adaptability. Soldiers learned to anticipate each other's decisions, creating a rhythm of action that maximized effectiveness and minimized exposure. Supply chains and logistical operations continued to underpin success. Coordination ensured that fuel, ammunition, rations, and medical supplies arrived timely, even under adverse conditions. German soldiers guided convoys through concealed routes, avoiding potential ambushes, while Americans maintained communication and strategic oversight. The seamless integration of experience and technology ensured that operational momentum was sustained, casualties were minimized, and units remained capable of decisive action. The cumulative impact of these efforts highlighted the vital role of human judgment and collaboration in sustaining large-scale military operations. The final engagements were marked by extraordinary acts of heroism. Soldiers risked life and limb to protect comrades, secure key positions, and gather critical intelligence. These actions, often spontaneous and guided by instinct, reflected a profound commitment to shared objectives. German soldiers, once expected to oppose Americans, now placed themselves in harm's way to ensure collective success. Americans, responding with equal courage, relied on these insights and acts of initiative to achieve operational breakthroughs. The battlefield, in these moments, became a testament to the enduring human capacity for adaptability, bravery, and cooperation. Medical teams exemplified the integration of care and strategy. Casualty stabilization, rapid evacuation, and immediate treatment were coordinated seamlessly between German and American personnel. Knowledge of injuries, efficient use of resources, and adherence to protocols ensured that wounded soldiers remained operationally viable. The shared responsibility for life fostered trust, reinforced cohesion, and strengthened the psychological resilience necessary to maintain performance under sustained pressure. Each act of care, each calculated decision, contributed to a broader pattern of operational success. Reconnaissance operations maintained a decisive edge. German soldiers identified enemy weaknesses, monitored troop movements, and predicted potential counterattacks. Americans translated these insights into precise tactical actions, coordinating artillery, infantry, and armored units to exploit identified vulnerabilities. The combined efforts produced results disproportionate to unit size, disrupting enemy formations, severing supply lines, and enabling rapid territorial gains. These outcomes demonstrated the strategic value of collaboration, illustrating that integration, trust, and adaptive thinking could overcome significant numerical and logistical disadvantages. Moral and psychological dynamics remained central throughout the climactic operations. Soldiers confronted personal and collective dilemmas, balancing past allegiances with immediate necessity. Decisions to act decisively, to support comrades, and to prioritize operational objectives required constant ethical judgment. Leadership provided guidance, emphasizing both effectiveness and ethical responsibility. Over time, soldiers internalized the principles of accountability, cooperation, and pragmatic morality, reinforcing cohesion and sustaining operational focus. The resulting culture of trust and mutual respect proved as critical to success as tactical proficiency or technological superiority. As the campaign reached its conclusion, the tangible impact of these integrated units became evident. Key enemy positions were neutralized, supply lines disrupted, and strategic objectives achieved with minimal casualties relative to conventional projections. The cumulative effect of coordinated intelligence, tactical innovation, and human adaptability had reshaped the local operational landscape, providing clear evidence that collaboration between former adversaries could yield transformative results. The legacy of these units extended beyond immediate military success, illustrating enduring principles of trust, adaptability, and human ingenuity. In the aftermath, soldiers reflected on the extraordinary circumstances that had brought them together. German troops recognized the complexity of moral choices and the importance of pragmatic decision-making under extreme conditions. Americans acknowledged the value of competence, courage, and insight, irrespective of previous allegiance. Shared experiences of danger, success, and mutual reliance fostered enduring bonds, reshaping perceptions of identity, loyalty, and the human capacity for cooperation. The battlefield, once defined by division and enmity, had become a proving ground for the resilience of trust and the power of collaborative action. The campaign's outcomes influenced subsequent operational planning. Military strategists recognized that integrating diverse experiences, knowledge, and tactical insight could produce results unattainable through conventional means. Units demonstrated that flexibility, communication, and trust could be force multipliers, enhancing both strategic and tactical effectiveness. Lessons learned from these hybrid forces informed broader doctrines, illustrating how human judgment, adaptability, and collaboration could reshape operational paradigms even in the most extreme environments. Ultimately, the story of German and American soldiers operating side by side became a testament to the transformative power of human cooperation in wartime. Individual courage, shared trust, and adaptive strategy had combined to overcome historical enmity, achieve decisive victories, and preserve lives. The legacy extended beyond military outcomes, highlighting universal truths about resilience, ethical decision-making, and the capacity for individuals to transcend ideological divides in pursuit of a greater objective. Even after the cessation of hostilities, the impact endured. Veterans carried the lessons of cooperation, adaptability, and moral judgment into post-war life. Stories of courage, tactical ingenuity, and trust became part of a collective memory, shaping understanding of human potential in crisis. These experiences demonstrated that, even amidst the devastation of global conflict, the combination of skill, ethical judgment, and collaborative effort could produce extraordinary outcomes. The battlefield had revealed the power of humanity at its most adaptive, courageous, and principled.